Hello, I'm Derek Mooney.
I'm Terry Garvey.
And this is Read Right Now. This week's Read Right Now comes with a guarantee. If you stay with us for the whole show, we guarantee to change the way you think forever.
Because we'll be looking at a really important aspect of learning, namely using and improving your memory.
Being able to understand and improve your memory skills is probably the most useful thing you can learn.
It's useful in so many different ways, and the great thing is you really can learn to improve your memory.
We'll also have the usual hints and tips on reading, writing and improving your number skills. And we'll be meeting Molly Keogh, our learner this week, who's recently learned to surf the internet.
And I'm off to Croke Park to meet the memory man himself, Jimmy McGee.
To get the most out of Read Right Now, you should get yourself a copy of the free Read Right Now workbook. All you have to do is pick up the phone and dial 1-800 20 20 65. It's got worksheets and activities to practice, as well as lots more tips and advice. Now, how about taking part in an experiment to test your memory? We want you to try this at home. So have a look at this sequence of objects from the collection here at the National Museum in Collins Barracks. Just look at them, concentrate on the images, and try to remember them.
Later on in the programme you can find out how well you do remembering objects or pictures. But for now we're going to look at memory, how it works and how you can improve it. Where do we start? Well, the thing about memory is there are two types, short-term memory and long-term memory. The way that short-term memory works is this. If I give you a list of words or names, say for instance, Meath 1967, Down 1968, Kerry 1969, Kerry 1970, you can probably remember those for a short while, but unless you find a meaning to them or a need to use them, then you're going to forget them after a while. You know the experience. Somebody gives you a phone number, and while you're looking for a pen to write it down, you keep repeating the number in your head or maybe out loud. That is so that you can store it in your short-term memory until you find another way to store it in the long-term memory.
Although everything is weighed in kilograms nowadays, many of us still think and talk in terms of pounds and ounces. But a good way to store in your memory what a kilogram looks like compared to a pound is to check out your kitchen presses, and you'll see that what you think about as a pound of butter is in fact 454 grams. The metric system for measuring weight is based on the kilogram, which is often written as kg. 1 kilogram is made up of 1,000 grams. Grams are usually written like this, G. 2 kilograms is equal to 2,000 grams. 3 kilograms is 3,000 grams, and so on. To help you get used to what these measurements actually look like, check the labels of everyday items. This tub of yogurt, for example, contains 125 grams, and the jar of coffee contains 100 grams.
Molly Keogh has lived all her life in Dunlavin, County Wicklow. As a young schoolgirl, she put play ahead of work, and so she left school with poor writing skills.
I was a bad student because I didn't want to be at school for no reason, only that I was wild. I didn't want to study at all. I didn't want to do homework, facing in the morning with no homework done. There was 9 of us at home, and my mother, God rest her, did the best she could with us. She was a great woman, but I'm afraid she needed more than her help to get me by. I left school when I was about 13 and a half. I left in 5th class. I was good at reading, and I was no good at writing. To get it down on paper, no way, I couldn't do that. I was 21 before I went to work as a weaver, and it was great. I was absolutely brilliant. but I love weaving, and that was the only real job I had. I was only 3.5 years at that when I got married, and I couldn't work outside the home then. That was disappointing. I first missed education when I had my own. I had 2 children of my own, and they were going to primary school, and I couldn't help them with their homework, and that was very embarrassing. The children were more alert and more brighter than I had been as an adult. Their mother couldn't help them out. It was very embarrassing. And I was determined they couldn't leave school like I did. They didn't. Both of them went on to college. That was, you know, was a bonus for me.
Is there a particular poem you can recite? Do you remember yourself as a child? Can you recall numbers and names when you need them? Well, all of these are examples of long-term memory. Now, already I can hear some of you say that you have really bad memories. Well, most of us don't. The simple fact of the matter is, we simply haven't learned to use it effectively. One of the first principles for improving your memory is to understand that you remember things that are relevant, things you have an interest in, or things that you have a basic understanding of. For example, I think the furniture collection here is fantastic, but I'm not that pushed about the silver. So naturally, I'm going to remember more about the furniture.
Well, we couldn't possibly do a programme on memory without talking to Mr. Memory Man himself. Jimmy McGee, do you remember everything, or is it just sport?
Oh, it's not just sport, but I don't remember everything. 2 answers to the same question. I remember things that I'm interested in. Now, when I was younger, I was going to be a chemist at one time. I began serving my time in a pharmacy, and I knew what was in every bottle and the name of every tincture and lotion and ointment in the shop, and what it did, because I was interested. But I love names. Names is what I've always been into since I was a boy.
If I said to you aeroplane, who would that conjure up?
In a sports context, there was a man called O'Shea, Aeroplane O'Shea, Castle Gregory and Kerry, famous midfield player.
Now, you never saw him play, but you did see the Wexford team, say the great teams of the 50s. When you remember them, do you have to visualise them? Do you see them?
Most of them I can see. The Wexford team, of course, was special because they were big men as well as great sportsmen. And they won the All-Ireland back-to-back, 55, 56. Art Foley in goal, Bobby Rackard, Nick O'Donnell, Mick O'Hanlon, Jim English, centre-half Billy Rackard, Mick Morrissey, Jim Morrissey, Ned Wheeler, Paddy Keogh, Podge Keogh and Tim Flood, and Tom Dixon was left corner forward, Nicky Rackard full forward, and Tom Ryan. But I can see them. I see Tom Ryan, the tall and the curly-haired, big Nicky Rackard leading the line. Yeah, I can see them. Even now I can visualise them.
Do you have to see them to remember them?
Doing things like the World Cup in football, you only get one chance to see them. You might be doing Korea versus Slovenia. Well, they're not exactly household names in Castle Gregory, are they? So you see them, and if you're depending on numbers, you may forget about it. But everybody looks different. So you merely go for it and look, and after 5 minutes, genuinely, I would know every player on the field.
Well, of course, you have more to remember now.
I have more to remember, and there are not that many files in my head to keep them filed away. But I can call on them whenever I want to, and that's the enjoyable thing about life.
Jimmy McGee, thank you very much. Now, in common with many clubs and societies, if you want to join a GAA club, you may have to fill out an application form. Here's some tips on how to do that.
Different forms have different layouts, and some need more information than others. Always look at the top of the form, as it often says, "Please complete in block capitals." This means that you must write all of your details in capital letters. Some forms have blank lines for you to write in your details, and others may have several boxes like this to fill in. Where there are boxes, you put one letter only in each box, and leave a blank box between 2 different words. Most forms require the same basic information: name, address, and date of birth. But they may ask for it in different ways. For example, surname, second name, or last name all mean the same thing and just mean you write in Kelly, Murphy, Ryan, etc. Again, for forename, first name, or Christian name, they just want John, Mary, or Pat. Date of birth is sometimes shortened to DOB. and is usually written out as 21st of October 1960. However, if the form has boxes, the correct way is to put day, month and year. So 21 is the day, October is the 10th month, and then the remaining boxes are for the year, 1960. Finally, if there is a space for your signature at the bottom of the form, sign your name with your normal handwriting, not in block capitals.
You'll find lots more tips and activities in the new Read Write Now workbook. Just phone free on 1800 20 20 65 to get your copy.
Here at the National Gallery there are literally thousands of exhibits, and these are just the ones on display. If you wanted to study each one in great detail, it would probably take you many days. And that's why people, when they visit galleries or museums, tend to select one section and focus on that. Our memory works a bit like that. The mind can only absorb a certain amount of new material at a time. We can't learn everything about everything. The solution then is to be selective. Choose what's important, learn the important things, and build on that knowledge.
Molly heard of classes being run locally just before her 70th birthday, and she started on a new journey of learning.
I phoned the local course coordinator and I said I'd like to join the course if it's possible. I'm a senior citizen and I won't be looking for a job. She said, that doesn't matter. Come down Wednesday morning. And I couldn't believe it. I didn't know anybody my age that would have gone back to learn. But I thought, well, I don't care what anybody thinks. What I want to get back. I want to catch up on what I lost in my young days.
This is your main letter now, so you write in what you're going to write.
It's just 2 years now since I started back to study, and it was like going back to school. I was very, very nervous. Now I really look forward to the course on a Wednesday.
Sure, when you first started, you were so nervous, Molly, weren't you? You weren't able to do any of this sort of thing. You'd be...
Jackie, I'm now 100% now. I'm studying English and computers, and with the computer, if you make a spelling wrong, it shows up straight away and it'll correct the spelling for you even, which is, it's absolutely brilliant.
And do you find, Molly, that the computer's changed your life in any way?
Oh, it has, Jackie. It has. You know, it's great to be able to contact my family. You know, to be just keep in touch all of the time, which I never could have done. You know, you'd have to be just phoning and it'd be a hit and miss. But now, you know, they're expecting you to contact them.
And it's nice to come in and turn on the computer and check, see if you have an email from somebody.
And it's a very good help for my memory that we can get so much attention with the small class. I need to be able to get to one-to-one. I'd be lost. If it was a big group now, I would have to drop out. I wouldn't be able to cope. The more you learn, the more you realise how little you know. And you're all the time trying to improve on your education. You're all the time trying to find out how you can learn that bit extra and go another bit of the way. You really hunger for knowledge.